talked about Toronto maybe being in more of a fight for a playoff spot. I don't know who wants to win that division because Tampa's never been out to win the division. They just worry about the playoffs. Florida's proven that the last couple of years. Toronto might, the division might be up for grabs. The regular season part.
Yes, my preseason, I have Tampa winning because my thought on Tampa, if people are healthy, is that the one thing that's easier to run through 82 games is a great offense. And I think the fact that they score easier and their power play is so good, they can win 5-4, they can win 2-1. I see Toronto not winning many 5-4 games anymore, like a lot more closer games. Florida, we know their injury history. I just think Tampa, because of the way they got bounced in the first round, we forget how they were maybe the best team in the league or in the East. But the second half of last year, they were awesome. And their goal differential was massive. So they have the offense that will sustain fluctuations in their game. And Vasilevsky was really good again last year. So I think the question marks about everyone else sort of defaults me to Tampa that they would be my division favorite before the season starts.
We watched the Rangers lose at home last night. I know it's only one game. But like, what are the New York Rangers?
They are a team committed to being good now because of Panarin, because of Zibanejad, because of Shesterkin, because of Fox. That is probably not as good as they see themselves right now or as good as they need to be. Now they bring in Mike Sullivan, old teammate of mine, old line mate of mine, to bring in structure and accountability. John, you saw them last year. There were times last year where it looked like they looked like a teenage team in their own end. Like it was just so chaotic.
Mika Zibanejad last year was lost. He was lost, completely lost.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't have that out of one of your top two centermen. Trocheck is pretty diligent. He wants to do it. But there was games I called a game where Zibanejad and Panarin were throwing pucks around like even great players. You can't do that. You can't do that. So, but again, if we're going to go through the divisions, I think the Metro is probably the weakest division in the league. So I like Carolina. I like New Jersey. I don't know about Washington. I think they're going to take a huge step back just because it can't possibly be like last year. And the Rangers are right there too. They have good names. They got to figure out how to put it together to maximize what they have while also playing a brand of hockey that can allow them to win. That's Mike Sullivan's challenge. It might be a bit of a challenge. They were fine last night, but they didn't dominate. I think the story last night was more about Pittsburgh than about New York because I think a lot of people have Pittsburgh being like one of the worst teams in the league. And they were better than the Rangers last night. And if Shilovs can be sort of consistent, then every team that has consistent goaltending has a chance to be decent in the standings.
Saw a great post last night to imagine watching that Pittsburgh Ranger game and seeing Arthur Shilovs shutting out a Ranger club that has JT Miller as his captain and looking at the viewpoint of the Vancouver Canucks from a year ago. Like, where is that coming from? Yeah.
Don't you remember the famous morning skate in the Nashville series? What was it, 2 years ago, where JT Miller came out in Arthur Shilov's dress shirt and wore Arthur Shilov's dress shirt in the morning skate because he thought it was such a bogus shirt. So, and then they went and sold a ton of those shirts in Vancouver as merchandise.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they? But one interesting thing about that though is the fact that they gave JT Miller the captain. Well, I don't think it's an indictment of the other players, but it's sort of a message. What is JT Miller best known for? Like he's obviously good, but like he's fiery, he's emotional. He's passionate, he's physical. And I think they're saying, I know he hasn't been here very long, again, second time around, but that's what we want to be our leader. Like we need more of that from everyone. So it's more, not so much like, oh, JT Miller is the greatest of all time. It's like, but he plays at least with the sort of intangibles that we need more from our other best players. I think there was a bit of a message to the guys you mentioned, Zibanejad and Panarin and those other good players saying, listen, you might be better than that guy, but he plays with the fire we need from everyone. So bring more of that would be nice.
Does it make me a bad person that I didn't mind what Tampa did to wrap up the preseason? Well played.
Sorry, I didn't finish the question.
Does it make me a bad person? Yes.
We can cut it there. So I think all hockey fans have a sort of a closet pleasure in watching that kind of stuff. Like it's hilarious and it's funny, and it's funny until it's not, right? As long as, like, it's funny until someone gets hurt. When JJ Mosier's running guys from behind, and like that could have broken a collarbone. When Carter Verhaeghe, like, and I said this, it wasn't so much the fights that bothered me. Those are what they're going to be, and you can take part in them, or if you're Aaron Ekblad, you have to take part in them. Whatever. Like, those are generally somewhat agreed to. It was the crazy violent hits that led to the fights that were the more concerning part for me. But the idea of Tampa saying, listen, you had a guy, AJ Greer, taking swings at Brandon Hagel. Maybe it's related to Barkov, but he also got his bell rung by Ekblad. So maybe that toll was, that was balanced out. I don't have a problem with saying, if you want to do that to us, we're going to do that back to you. And if it's not this game, next game,
it's a game of intimidation.
Like, I don't have a problem with intimidation. And I don't have a problem, and this is barbaric and like this is sort of old school, but like sometimes the answer is not to go at the tough guy, to go at the not so tough guy. Don't go fight Ty Domi. Go make Mike Johnson uncomfortable. Because like, you're not going to bother Ty. You're not going to bother AJ Greer, but you might bother Nico Mikkola, and you might bother Evan Rodriguez, and maybe you might not. Who knows? But like, that's how you respond. So I don't necessarily have a big problem with that. I mean, I played in some exhibition games. We don't have enough time. A Tampa, Florida game. We played in Fort Myers one time, Darren. We brought in a player named Kyle Frederick, I think his name was, who I'd never seen before. And he came into play this game, and he was 6'8".
Just that game?
Just that game. He flew in from the Detroit Vipers or wherever our farm team was, played. And you could check his stat line. I think he had 3 fights in 5 seconds and left. His skates didn't show up. He played. It didn't matter. He played in someone else's skates. It didn't matter. And Florida had like Peter Worrell and Paul Laws and Todd Simpson. And like there was 300 fights in that game. It was ridiculous. It happens sometimes. But the other sort of more current underlying part of that is the fact that Florida has run through the league now for 3 years, being more comfortable playing games like that than anybody else, and being more willing to take games in that direction, not all the way there, but take games a little greasier, a little chippier, a little down in the alley, because they're better at it than everyone. Yeah. And I think teams that are competing with them now, especially in preseason, it's like standing up to the schoolyard bully. If I give you my lunch money on the first day, you're taking it every day. So I'm going to stand up to you the first day, and I might get my clock cleaned, but he's going to know he can't take it from me without me fighting back. And I think that's what Toronto is trying to do, and what Tampa is trying to do, and what Carolina is trying to do. Like, just Tampa had the chance to do it viscerally in a physical manner right after what they did it to them. But I think that's part of the reaction to Florida's dominance, is people saying, well, we may not beat them in the playoffs right now, but God damn, we're gonna take it to them physically if we can, to try to stand up to the way they want to play.